Good evening, everyone. I am Janine Sheen Maupoy, and I am the last reporter for Group 6. And my topic is all about the environment-related illness or the environmental-related illness. Unsa man ni? This occur when you or we are exposed to toxins or substances in the environment. Kanang makakos na magkasakit ta. These health hazards may be found kung asa ta nagpuyo or asa ta nagtrabaho. Some human illnesses that are found to be related with its environment include Parkinson's disease. Nga naman, environmental factors that increase a person's risk of developing a Parkinson's disease kay ang mga pesticides and herbicides. It is used in farming and traffic or industrial pollution. Mo nang nakakontribute sa condition nga Parkinson's disease. Another human illness is the chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Ang main cause jud ani or the major risk factor aning COPD is smoking. Some ani kay ang nagtrabaho nga na-expose sila sa vapor, sa dust, gas, and fumes, kay makadevelop og COPD. Labi na kung ang exposure kay intense or dugay jud sila na-expose. Mo nang makakause sila og COPD. Another is asthma, diabetes, obesity, occupational injuries, dysentery, arthritis, malaria, and depression. By contrast, activities that promote health and extend human life could have adverse environmental effects. For example, food production causes environmental damage from pesticides and fertilizers. Soil salinization. Ano man ang soil salinization? This occurs when the water in soils evaporate in high temperatures, drawing salts from the soil to the surface. Ang kaning salt mahimo ni siya toxic sa plants and could also make the land unusable. Mao ning matawag ang land nga poor soil physical condition and makaproduce ni siya sa crop productivity. Next is the waste produced by livestock. Livestock manure, unlike human waste, is not treated before it is disposed of. The untreated manure emits airborne chemicals and fumes, and when run off occur dangerous pollutants that enter our waterways. Next is the carbon emission from food manufacturing and transportation. Kani siya makakos man siya og climate change. Next is deforestation. Kani pod makakos siya og climate change, also soil erosion, and also the flooding, and also kining overfishing. What is overfishing? Kanang mo ni siyang nakakos nga ni-deplete ang population sa adult fish nga dili magbilin or doesn't leave enough fish to reproduce. Healthcare facilities also have adverse environmental impacts. Hospitals use large quantities of electricity and fossil fuels and produce medical waste. Unsa man mga medical waste? It is a solid waste that is generated during the diagnosis, the treatment, immunization of animals or humans. Nag-include ani is the money ang mga needles, mga bandages, surgical gloves, surgical instruments, mga body fluid samples, mga blood, or medical devices and radioactive materials. To prevent some diseases, it may be necessary to alter the environment. For example, malaria was eradicated in the United States and other developed nations in the 1940s and 50s as a result of draining wetlands and spraying DDT, or the dichlorodiphenyl trichloroethane, or the DDT, an insecticide used in agriculture to kill mosquitoes. A reduction in mortality from starvation or disease can lead to overpopulation, which stresses the environment in different ways, increasing use of fossil fuels, clearing of land, generating pollution and waste, and so on. According to experts, climate change could also have a serious impact on human health. Kaya ang climate change, maka-increase din siya ang risk sa illness through increasing temperature, mga frequent heavy rains or kanang mga effects sa storm. Could also deteriorate farming systems and reduce nutrients in some foods. Nganuman, kay ang high levels of carbon dioxide disrupt plants' internal chemistry. So it alter how much protein and other vitamins they produce internally. Relationships between human health and environment raise many ethical, social, and legal dilemmas by forcing people to choose among competing values. Many of the issues at the intersection of health and the environment have to do with managing benefits and risks. For example, pesticides play an important role in increasing crop yields, but they can also pose hazards to human health and environment. Alternatives to pesticide uses could significantly reduce agricultural productivity, leading to food shortages and increased food prices, which would in return increase starvation in some parts of the world. So, the public health authorities opted na i-regulate na ang pag-use sa pesticide to enhance food production while gi-minimize ang damages na iya mabuhat sa environment and also to human health. When drafting and implementing environmental health regulations, it is important to consider vulnerable subpopulations. So, unsa man ang vulnerable subpopulation? A vulnerable subpopulation is a group with an increased susceptibility to the adverse effects of the environmental risk factor due to their age, genetics, health status, or some other condition. So, kaning other group that are particularly vulnerable kay kaning mga pregnant women, mga immigrants, mga indigenous people, mga disabled, mga vulnerable occupational groups, parihaan ng worker nga exposed sa extreme weather. If an environmental regulation is designed to protect average members of the population, it may fail to adequately protect vulnerable subpopulations. However, almost everyone in the population has an above average susceptibility to at least one environmental risk factor. Various public health strategies pit the rights of individuals against the good society, such as mandatory treatment, vaccination, or diagnostic testing, isolation and quarantine, and disease surveillance. So, pareha karon na naay pandemic, dili mandatory ang mga vaccine. We have the rights to choose whether magpabaksin ta or dili. Pero mas maayo ang magpabaksin ta aron dili dayon matakdan sa sakit or sa COVID. If ever naman na magkasakit, mas maayo nga mangita dayon og tambal or treatment kay if it gets worse, kay i-isolate or i-quarantine man ta. So, we as individual could make a good society na arapod nato, na arapod sa atong decision. Human rights issues also come up with research on environmental health that involves human subjects. For research to be ethical, human subjects must give consent and great care must be taken to ensure that they understand that they can opt out of the research project. Since late 1990s, some pesticide companies have tested their products on human subjects to gather data to submit to the government for regulatory purposes. So, ako dyan research ang report aning pesticide companies during the 1990s. So, according to the report, the companies exposed volunteers to various insecticides to determine safety levels for exposure to these compounds. So, one of the experiments mentioned in the report involved the oral administration of diclorvus or kani insecticide na giuse para makontrol ang household pests. This is gitas siya sa 53 subjects. So, another experiment administered orange juice laced with aldicarb. So, unsa man ning aldicarb? It is a carbamate insecticide nga giuse para gamit sa thrips, mga aphids, mga spider mites. Una siya. And gitas ni siya sa 47 subjects. In one experiment, conducted by Novartis, managers for the company ingested diazenon. So what is diazenon? Diazenon is an insecticide used in agriculture para magkontrol og insect sa fruit, vegetable, and field crops. Experiments conducted by Novartis and Dow AgriSciences each used 60 paid volunteers in a study sponsored by Dow AgriSciences. So dozens of college-age volunteers were paid $460 to swallow a pill containing chlorophyropus or a roach poison or a cockroach poison. So kinsa man jud ni or unsa man jud ni ang Novartis? Novartis is a global healthcare company based in Switzerland that provides solutions to address the evolving needs of patients worldwide. So, tungod ato nga report or tungod ato nga research, some commentators charge that these experiments are unethical because they place people at an acceptably high risk without a clear benefit to society. Others have argued that the experiments, if properly designed and implemented, could produce important benefits to society by providing useful knowledge about the effects of pesticides that can lead to strong regulations. So that ends our report. Thank you guys and thank you ma'am for listening and also for watching.